For those who have just tuned in, I am Benji and I'm here with TAmsiPinder, a top Protoss player from C, and we're doing a King of the Hill here. We have Engen Light, who's the current king, up against Engen Mafia, so a bit of a clan-on-clan thing here. So, Pinder, what do you know about these players as we jump in this game?
I've played a lot of games with Light recently. Obviously, PvP isn't really indicative of what he might play like in the other matchups because you're almost forced to one base, so I won't judge him for that. But right now, I do like that he's building his pylon down there. Really good placement. He's obviously going to Forge expand. He might do a bit of cannon harass if he gets him. He's going to scout first. Mafia, on the other hand, I've played him a couple of times. I think I'm about 1 and 4 with him. He plays pretty solid. He likes to open speedlings from what I've seen playing against him. And
I've seen him harass quite a bit. I saw a game of him versus Az. I think it was in Dog Season, I might be wrong about that. But he opened Speedlings and forced Az to cancel his expansion Nexus twice. And obviously just completely dominated the rest of the game. But Forge Fast Expand here, I've got to say, as far as the matchup goes though, a roach pressure from this, from my experience, as Zerg, generally does well against this kind of opening.
It definitely does, but the one thing about a map like this, there's very few maps that it's viable. Oh, he's going for the cannon in. I like that.
Is he going to
he can't do it on this map. Oh no!
I gotta say.
Oh man, that's such a burn. He almost deserves that for doing this.
There's no ball there to scout. I'm surprised he's not pulling down drones now to.
He actually can't block it because of the positioning of the refinery. I think. Oh no, that's not going to full block it.
Isn't
it?
Oh
man.
We'll have to wait and see.
The place where that geyser is. See how he's cancelling and stuff.
Yeah,
that guy's can't actually place the pylons where he wants to.
I'm just looking
block.
around the map as well. That looks like it's happened in all 4 positions as well. So it's not like a map imbalance.
Yeah, it almost looks like a intentional map choice, which I kind of like. But anyway, what I was saying about the roaches was it's a lot easier. Like it seems like there's very few maps that it's viable to Forge expand on. On the current map ladder pool.
Yep.
Lost Temple and Shakura's Plateau seem like the only ones that have small enough chokes where you can get away with this kind of Forge expand. This map has a similar tight choke kind of thing, so you can get away with it, because you only really need about 3 or 4 cannons to block off and shut down the roach pressure. Whereas on a map like Zelnaga Caverns, where it's just fucking ridiculously open, or Metalopolis, it's just way too hard to get all those cannons up and at the same time have an effective SimCity. So I definitely like his choice to do it on this map.
Getting up the cannons is one thing, but cannons behind buildings don't outrange roaches that are hitting those buildings. So right now, where the cannon is placed, if the roaches were sort of directly to the right of the Forge and Gateway, they can hit that Forge and Gateway where that cannon's hitting. On Shakura's is obviously the uphill thing.
I don't think so.
No? I'm pretty sure.
Because cannons have 7 range. It used to be, back when roaches had 3 range, you could actually place the cannons 1 hex back of the buildings, and the roaches wouldn't be able to hit the buildings, and wouldn't be able, without the cannons attacking them, and they would never be able to hit the cannons.
We'll have to see if that comes into play.
It was a lot safer back then, but now that they have 4 attack, you have to put the cannons like Light's done, touching the Forge and touching the Gateway, and whilst the roaches can hit the cannons, they can't hit the buildings without the cannons hitting them. There would maybe be a spot, like if you go to the right of the Forge and then down of the Forge, like right bottom right corner, you might be able to hit that Forge. But I definitely don't think you'll be able to hit that Gateway. I'd be very surprised if you could.
Okay, well, we'll see if that does come into play. Obviously, it's very hard to sort of... you can say, oh, yeah, it doesn't hit this, doesn't hit that, but it comes down to a lot of... every game building positioning is a little bit different. Units aren't always in the same spots, but let's see how Mafia comes out of this. He hasn't actually gone for any sort of tech choice yet. The longer he stays on this sort of... spawning pool build, I was sort of more inclined to say Mutalisk, but we'll have to wait and see here. He has his second up. He has speed done in his speedlings, and he's just got scouts out there now. Yeah,
I definitely like the way that Mafia's reacting to this. He's not doing any sort of crazy all-in. What he's doing is getting the 3 queen... He's got the 3rd queen out, which I don't know whether or not I agree with that, but because he's definitely not going to get hit by anything early, and he is getting the lair up now, but what he's doing is just pumping drones, non-stop drones. He's not pumping out any links. He doesn't need anything like that. Yeah, there we go. He's getting the 3rd. I really like that response. The 3rd is a little bit risky, because if he hits with a 6-gate +1 timing, it can kind of fuck that over. But I'll be interested to see what Light does here, what he chooses to do. It looks like he is putting down another 2 gates. He's not getting those 2 assimilators that he's nat. He's still building drone probes right now, but if he cuts probes at 38 to 40-ish, at around that number, we may be seeing, and he's getting the +1. I think but he's getting the 2nd gas of the nat. Sorry, I'm kind of thinking out loud here.
Yeah, you're right.
Really not sensible for everyone.
That
but
3rd queen, though, I've got to say... sort of understanding how Mafia plays a bit, I do think it is purely for creep. I know he loves his creep spread and getting it like very quickly across the map, It could just be using that queen just for creep spray. As you can see, it's already got, what, 3 tunes down, so that might be why
yeah,
it's got a
with
third
the
queen.
quick third, I definitely agree with the quick third queen. I didn't think he would take a third that quickly. Yeah, connecting the creep up between those thirds is definitely essential. It's because a really popular way to transition out of this Forge Expand right now is going to the Stargates, but it looks like Light is going to do that 6-gate +1 attack that I was talking about. He's actually got another gas at his natural, which is interesting. It might be a kind of less all-in version of it, and he's going to keep producing probes. I'm not quite sure.
Mafia,
but yeah, this is going to be really hard for Mafia to defend, because this, if Engen Light has done the build correctly, it's going to hit pretty much right as the Spire finishes before he can really get any critical mass of Mutalisks, and he's going to be kind of forced to stay back and defend against this. And the fact that he took a third base is kind of almost going to disadvantage him here. It's really hard to hold on to that third. As
it comes down to scouting though as well. It is in a weird spot, and you kind of don't expect your opponent to take a third base that quickly. He's building a lot of spine coils now, 2 on the high ground and 1 on the low ground, getting 5 up total. I mean, if he's going to defend this whilst going muted, he's going to need spines, he's going to need speed links as well, because really, this is a perfect, well, I assume if he does it, it's going to be a good time push here. Mutalisk builds are so weak, if you sort of hit him as the Spire finisher or just a little bit before. But he's moving out now, killing those 2 links, so he knows he's coming. And
what's kind of interesting is that he's going to put all these spine callers up at his nat, but he's not put anything at the third. He's kind of banking on the fact that Engen Light doesn't scout that third. I'm not sure if he will. He's kind of pumping out lings now, and you can see that him being aggressive right now and forcing him to pump those lings kind of got a bit in his face, and he's not pumping as many mutal. Oh, actually, he is pumping as many.
He's getting 8 meters. Is he using all his gas?
So yeah.
Pretty much using all his gas.
So that's pretty well planned out by Mafia, actually. He got lings, but he didn't get enough to interrupt his Mutalisk production at all, which is really, really smart. So we see Light now. He really needs to get a proxy pylon down there right now. I'm not sure if he's going to have enough here. This might be just way too optimal of a build for Mafia and not optimal enough for Light. I definitely think he can take that third, but the thing is, if he goes down and attacks that third, I feel like Mafia is just going to counterattack his nat, and that's going to be game with the Mutalisks.
Keep in mind, Mafia has actually got a changeling up at his nat, so he can kind of see what's going on there. He's warping in some units now. Here comes the push. If Mafia can hold this in a great spot with the mutas here, he'll pretty much have map control, but we'll see if he can hold it. This is a lot of units coming in.
Yeah, this is a ton of units. It's going to be really hard for those Zerglings to get in, especially if he casts Force Field. Oh, I don't know whether or not... I feel like he should just be attacking into it, and... Actually, no, I kind of like what he's doing, but I think that Light shouldn't be cutting probes anymore. I feel like if he's going to be doing this and just kind of harassing back and forth, because what he's doing is keeping the Zerg in his base, and those Mutalisks don't have a chance to go up and harass the main. But, he's going...
Zealot's stuck at the back there.
Yeah, Zealot's stuck, and the Zergling's really taking a lot of hits from those Stalkers, which is exactly what you want. You want the Zerglings to be taking the damage while the Mutalisks and the Spine Callers do their job. In the meantime, it looks like Light might barely have enough to take this. We have 11 Hydras in production. That's going to pop out and should shut down this completely.
Here he comes now.
It looks like he's going to push it into the main. This is going to be really close, actually.
There are still mutas up as well. This could be... He's losing a lot of units. If he does win this, a next round of units, which is coming out now, 10 Lings, 4 Hydras should clean this up.
Yeah, I think this is going to be clean up for sure. Engen Light has almost completely cut probes, but he does actually have a better probe to drone count on Mafia here, so I'm not sure if... it's going to be quite interesting, actually, to see who comes out on top here. I think Mafia definitely is in the lead, even if he's behind on drone count, because right now he's more or less safe. Oh, actually, I don't know. Light just warped in about 14 Stalkers.
How many gateways has he got again? So he's on 10 gate or something? Because that was a lot of warp-ins.
Yeah, that was a lot. He's got 7, so he saved up 1 round. But the thing is, those crawlers are there now. They're rooted.
They're rooting. They're getting a wall off. I mean, he did lose a few, but
if Light could just, like, I kind of want to just ping the minimap for Light and be like, check, 6 o'clock, man. Like, you win the game if you just kill that right now, but I feel like he's listening to the stream, I'm telling you.
He did actually check up in the 9 o'clock for a third base. He kind of suspects there is one.
He did.
He's obviously scattered out now. This base
he's going to see it now. And the mutas are gone from his attack before, so there's going to be no counter-attack opportunity for Mafia. This is exactly what I was talking about, like this 6-gate +1 attack is just really strong if the Zergs tries to take a third base. Like, you really need to stay on 2 bases, get up to about 50 drones just off 2 base, and defend your 2 base, and then take a third after you've defended it, because it's just so hard to defend those 3 bases. Defend those 2 separate chokes against this attack.
Zerg army, though, I was going to say, might get caught out of position here, but he does pull it back quite smartly. Protoss now in a very strong position. He kind of has a light contain here on the Zerg, which I don't really hear that much. But there's a lot of Stalkers moving in here.
I really feel like the Protoss needs to start taking up. I feel like attacking here is almost a mistake, which he's going to realize right now. He needs to pull back. He can't take those Crawlers and those Hydras. Hydras are just such a cost-effective counter to Stalkers. As we're going to see here, there's like the numbers definitely favour the Stalkers, but the battle's going to favour the Hydras and the Crawlers. He needs to kind of pull back, just hold back, keep him contained to 2 base, and get up 2 Robo Colossi or something. Like, he needs to get something to deal with those Hydras, because it's going to be impossible to break that Crawler Hydra wall with just Stalkers, but it looks like he's doing his darndest to try.
Looks like it's just going to come down to a bit of a macro war, 2 base v 2 base, because, I mean, Mafia really can't expand from here. He's contained, more or less. He's got some drones.
He's actually got drones down the bottom right, and I didn't realize that, which means that Mafia is in a really shit position, because if you take away those 16 drones from his count, because they're not really mining, it's actually 32 drones versus 47 probes. So. And you can still see the Hydras are still pushing back that massive gateway army.
Yeah. You might be able to try and get up another hidden expansion with these drones, though. He's doing that now.
It looks like Light's taking a 3rd as well, which is quite interesting.
I like that.
Really needs to, and he's resuming pro production. Yeah, I like that a lot. He really needs to throw down a Robo.
Yeah. Colossus, though, just completely decimate Hydras as someone does ping the minimap. That base is up. But we do see a probe here. Is this going to scout this base out? Because that...
Oh, it is. It is.
Is it? Yeah, it will.
Yeah, it will.
There we go.
There it is. So he's getting Blink Stalkers now, which is going to really abuse his map control. It's going to allow him to pick up expansions like this one and easily get back in time to save his main against any Hydra counterattack.
I've got to say that there are a lot of Lings out as well. You could use those Lings to surround units and just pin them there for the Hydras. I'm just looking at the unit count right now.
The Pylon is going to warp in units there. He's actually going to keep his main army back in his base in case there's any counterattack. He's just going to warp in 1 or 2 Zealots, I'd say, to make this whole Zerg army pull over there.
Mafia doesn't see the Pylon either.
He only looks worse and worse for Mafia here.
Yeah, I mean, those drones are able to get back to their main base now, hopefully. I'm curious to see how this plays out. It's a bit of a game of chess here. Those drones are back in the base.
So many Stalkers. He's kind of like, well, you can build your hard counter to Stalkers, I'll just build even more Stalkers and kill you.
Just checking upgrades real quickly as well. 0-0 versus 1-0. So Hydra's not upgraded yet. Don't like that at all.
So we have Speedlings versus Speedling Hydra versus Blink Stalker. Speedling Hydra is pretty much the exact composition you want to deal with these Stalkers. And you can see at the start of the battle there was about 35
a changeling pinning a Stalker against the wall as well. Something very small there. Do you see that?
That's actually hilarious. The Spine Crawlers trying to move out and burrow. They get taken down. Man, was that on purpose? That's actually...
It had to have been. I mean, look at that.
Brilliant. I think they might have just been set on follow to follow the army around, and it just happened that he...
Still something small like that. In fact, we do have Zealots on the right here chasing a bunch of drones, and that expansion there was taken out as well. Did actually go up and did lose it to a few Zealots, and those Zealots will join with this main force here. Mafia not in a very good position though now. 2 base versus 3 base.
Yeah, that's it. 2 base versus 3 base, and he has way less of a drone count. And if you don't include those 7 drones that are kind of just on like a, I don't know, discovery mission to explore the whole map and see what the architecture is. But anyway, we have an attack coming. I don't like where he's got his spine crawlers set up. He's actually in the concave, like in the convex.
He's not able to get shots with everything.
Yeah, he's defending the wrong spot. Like, look at Engen Light's huge concave compared to Mafia's tiny little choke he has to stuff all his units into. That's the complete opposite of where you'd want to fight as Mafia, sorry. And yeah, he gets punished for it. But yeah, I think that was a really smart play by Light going for that 6 warp gate +1, especially since Mafia took that early 3rd, which he didn't know about, but it's still great to punish greedy little Zergs who try to take their 3rd blind against FE.